The United Nations member states have formally adopted the political declaration of high-level meeting on fight against tuberculosis. This was in New York at the 78th United Nations General Assembly. It was a commitment to increase annual global TB funding levels to over 4 times the current $5.4 billion to reach $22 billion annually by 2027 and step it up to $35 billion by 2030. Members agreed to use domestic and international investment mechanisms, innovative financing mechanisms, among others, to gather funding. The president of the UN General Assembly, Mr. Denis Francis, said the declaration has the most ambitious targets to date in the fight against TB and called for a robust and transparent TB response covering all populations, including refugees and migrants.
Tuberculosis, TB, remains one of the world's deadliest infectious killers. Each day, close to 4,400 people die from TB and close to 30,000 people fall ill with this preventable and curable disease. Although 74 million lives have been saved since 2000, the pace of progress is slow and actions and investment fall short of those needed to end the TB epidemic. The COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with socioeconomic inequalities, have reversed years of progress made in the fight to end TB and placed an even heavier burden on those affected, especially the most vulnerable. The 2 plenary sessions of the 2023 UN High-Level Meeting on TB at the just-ended General Assembly was therefore an opportunity for member states to focus on TB and mobilize political and social commitment to accelerate progress to end TB by 2030. The Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, said commitments made at the 2023 UN General Assembly, if followed through by member states, will put the world on track to ending TB by 2030 by providing life-saving treatment for 45 million people between 2023 and 2027.
Keep up, especially for the implementation. We have something on paper, so what matters is the action. So, given the energy, I believe you will continue to push for this. And TB? Yes, we can.
Health ministers from member states pledge commitment to ending TB through a robust political will with measures and tools to support persons with TB. Ghana's Minister for Health, Mr. Kwekwaji Maimenu, said sustained and adequate funding in the next 7 years will help end TB. He said Ghana commits to translate the UN declaration into country-level actions to end TB.
TB is preventable, treatable, and curable, therefore rendering quality care to people living with TB through equitable access to rapid diagnostics. To make this a reality for the Ghanaian, we commit to mobilizing and increasing domestic resources for diagnosing and treating people with TB, including children, people living with HIV, and provision of preventive therapy and a focus on high-risk and vulnerable groups with newer diagnostics, especially for children.
The president of the 78th UN General Assembly, Mr. Denis Francis, said access gaps as a result of COVID-19 must be closed with greater domestic and international resources. He said community-based service will strengthen both the reach and quality of care for TB community.
We also need affordable and more accurate rapid point-of-care diagnostics, along with more efficient and non-toxic treatment regimes, particularly for drug-resistant TB.
A TB survivor, Naomi Wanjuni from Kenya, shared her TB journey and said there can be an end to TB if member states remain committed and fulfill promises made at the UN General Assembly TB meeting. She called for more emphasis on childhood TB and vaccine implementation for the TB community.
We talk about TB to our adults only, but we forget our children. Let us remember them. TB can end if we get a vaccine. Remember, TB is a bacterial infection, so it is very easy to have a vaccine if we put all our effort and commitment.
TB is preventable, curable, and treatable. Globally, TB is the 13th leading cause of death and the second leading infectious killer after COVID-19, far above HIV and AIDS. In 2021, an estimated 10.6 million people fell ill with tuberculosis worldwide, 6 million men, 3.4 million women, and 1.2 million children. For GBC News, Mavis Champong reporting.